How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're going to be performing a throttle body cleaning or service, as along with a throttle position, a relearn afterwards, so we don't have any high idles, low idles, or any check engine lights pop up. I will show you that procedure as well and what tool you can use on your Honda or Acura. So obviously we here have a Civic hybrid. Now I'm not going to do a full DIY procedure because every car will be slightly different, although the actual cleaning will be basically the same for every vehicle. Now, this is a tiny throttle body, so if you have bigger hands, you may have a hard time getting in there with your fingers. So you could use a cotton swab or just a shop towel or rag if you must. But something like this also works great, along with some brake clean, some throttle body clean, carb clean, whatever you may use. Any of those is fine. You don't want to spray directly in there. You want to spray it on the towel or the cotton swab over here and clean it as needed. You also may want to use a pry bar here like this, or a large screwdriver to hold the throttle body open, and make sure you disconnect the throttle body to have anything unfortunate happen. If the throttle body snaps, you may obviously seriously injure your fingers or hands. So that shouldn't be happening if the vehicle's off, although take all precautions and just disconnect the negative side here. I'm not going to be doing that, but I've done this plenty of times already. And, just as a precaution and as a disclaimer, that's just good common practice. So that being said, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so there's no specific time you want to do this on. There's no recommendation really, although I would say 60,000 miles is great. Maybe if you have a direct injection vehicle and it's modified, maybe every 30 as well would work. So like I said, I'm just going to lift the throttle body here, push it gently with my finger, and then use the pry bar here to hold it in place. And there is some carbon buildup, nothing crazy, although like I said, customer requested it, so we are doing it, and it is good practice. Spray some brake clean on a rag, and let's see. Like I said, this is a very small throttle body. If it's a larger throttle body, you won't have such a hard time reaching in there. And just clean it side to side, up and down. And we can see some of that carbon on here. Also doesn't have to be perfect. On the direct injection engines, they definitely build up more carbon more quickly, and you can actually feel a lip. On this one was a fairly smooth transition, but not a bad idea to perform. So I am happy with the top there. The corners is going to be difficult to get to, but majority of it is clean. You could also take your cotton swab here once again, and get in there as well. And we'll see how this looks afterwards. And sure enough, we did pick up some extra carbon in there. And take a rag and dry it. Now to do the bottom, I'm just going to hold the butterfly open like this and use my pry bar here. And we could definitely see the carbon buildup here. Let's go ahead, start scrubbing away at it. You could also remove the throttle body, although if you remove the throttle body, you may have to replace the gasket. It's always a good idea. If it's a rubber O-ring, you may not have to replace it the first time, even though it is always a good idea. If you have a paper gasket, then chances are it might break, and you don't want to cause any vacuum leaks. I'm going to take this once again, try to get the corners in there. And fairly simple. Like I said, does not have to be 100% perfect because it is hard to get to in the corners here, but just do your best and be as thorough as possible. And I'm pretty content with that. So we picked up plenty. See here, this was a clean rag. So like I said, pretty content here. So just trying to get a close up here. Pretty content with that. So at this point, we're going to put everything back together, and you may want to just wipe down the plate as well. Put it back together, and we're going to be doing the throttle position relearn. All right, so once you're done putting everything back together, you've cleaned it already, you connected the battery back up. Now it's time to perform the throttle position of relearn. Now I am using the Launch X431 Elite. If you have a Honda or Acura, this is a must-have. So we're just going to go through this real quick over here. You don't have to use this specific scan tool, although this is the best scan tool for the price, in my opinion, for the average DIYer. If you have something that does this, that's perfectly fine. And you may not have any issues, but I always like to do this because, especially if you have a ton of carb up, which in this case we did not, you know, that's going to change stuff once there's no more carbon there and you've cleaned that up. Now you're going to have extra airflow that the ECU hasn't accounted for, and you could have some check engine light or idling issues. So in order to prevent that, we're going to be doing this. Service function, electric throttle sensor reset. That's what you want. They worded it a little bit differently, but same thing. So right here, you could do ECM PCM reset, which we don't really need at this point, or the ETCS test. So throttle position check or test. I'm going to do the throttle position check. So right here, equipment will reset the throttle position learning value. Need to clean the throttle body at the same time if reset. So exactly what we did. Do you wish to reset the throttle position learning value? Yes. Stop the vehicle. So learning position has been cleared. Now, after you do that, you may want to run the engine up to speed, up to 3,000 RPMs. I don't do that. I just let it idle for sometimes 15-20 minutes until the engine cycles, the cooling fan cycle 2 or 3 times, you know, and that's more than fine. And it did a PCM reset anyways. So here we go. Now let it idle for 10 minutes until it reaches normal operating temperature. So exactly what we're going to do. And as we can see, the car is at a high idle because the engine is cold. The coolant is cold, indicated by the light over there. So once you reach operating temperature, the fans will cycle in a normal operating vehicle. And at that point, let it cycle maybe twice and you should be good to go. So with that being said, hopefully this video was helpful to somebody out there. If you're like content like this, if you own a Honda or Acura, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. That being said, I'll catch everyone on the next one.